Alright, so welcome to Robertsonville Academy. Today we're going to look at the topic called calculus. Now, mathematics isn't just about solving. There's a beauty in mathematics. We need to make sure to say we develop the desire and we know what is it that we should know in a given topic when we're given one. Now, calculus is a both paper 1 and paper 2 topic. In paper 1, it comes as compulsory. You write it whether you like it, yes or not. And in paper 2, there are times that it comes compulsory and there are also times that it comes optional in section B. Regardless, we're going to go directly to the topic called calculus. Now, what do we understand by the term calculus? We define calculus to be the branch of mathematics which often will investigate the quantities that are changing. So I say, this is the branch of mathematics. This is the branch of mathematics which often be investigate quantities that are changing. Okay. We said the quantities that are changing in calculus are going to be represented by dy dx, the difference in y and the difference in x. So we're saying calculus, this is the branch of mathematics that often investigate the quantities that are changing. What are these quantities? Number one, so in terms of calculus, we're going to look at two things. There's what we call differential calculus, okay? There's what we call differential, okay? And there's what we call integral or integration. There's what we call integral. Now, this differential, okay, and integral, number one, what we need to know is that under differential, so we're going to start with the differential. Sorry, we're going to start with differential calculus. Now, under differential, what you need to understand is that differential, it is driven from the formula which says the change in y over the change in x. This will give us, we're going to have a being the coefficient of x. So ax altogether, then n the power like this, okay? Now, when we're given such, it can be an expression. This expression can be y is equivalent to ax altogether, ax and n. Now, when you are given this expression here, y is equivalent to ax to the power n, where a is the coefficient of x and n is the power. Now, what we need to do is, remember we are saying this is the branch of mathematics that often investigate the quantities that are changing. Therefore, as we're talking about the quantities that are changing, we're saying the change in y and the change in x, this is equivalent to this expression here which we have is one that we have here. Therefore, I'm going to say the difference in y over the difference in x, this will give me, you've seen this ax, it will multiply with n. Always, you don't do power, but you multiply. So, we're saying ax will multiply by n. Then always just want to say n is reduced by 1. This is the rule under differential calculus. Let's look at this example. Okay, example 1. It says find the derivative. Find the derivative of y is equivalent to 2x cubed. Then we have 4x like this. With respect to x, with respect to x. Now, how do we analyze and solve this problem? Number one thing that we need to do is we need to get that equation that we've been given. So the equation is saying y is equal to x minus 4x. We start now. We're saying the difference in y over the difference in x. This is, now we multiply here. Okay, like we said earlier here, we said ax, it is multiplied with n. So 3x multiplied by 2x multiplied by 3, it will give us 6x. Then you see this power 3, it always reduces by 1. Altogether, yes. So we have a minus, this is it. Then we have 4x here, 4x. Now, you see that 4 is the coefficient of x. Just want to say the moment you see this x, there is an invisible 1 on top. Also, this 4 will multiply by that same invisible 1, it will be still 4x. Now, this same 1 will reduce by 1 again. So we say the difference in y over the difference in x. This will give us 6x. This from this 1 from 3, we're going to get a 2 minus. Here we have 4x. 1 minus 1 will get a 0. Now, if this number was greater than 1, we would have said we've concluded. However, this power is 0, and we know that according to the rules of indices, we're saying that any number of value raised to the power 0 is 1. So now, we'll say the change in y over the change in x, this will give us 6x squared minus 4. Is it the 4 or the x that is raised to the power 0? It is the x. Therefore, we'll say x raised to the power 0 is 1. Therefore, we have 6x squared minus 1 times 4, we'll get 4. And here we've differentiated. So this specifically comes in paper 1 of mathematics. Let's look at another example. Okay, let's look at another example. Assuming to say, let's check 1 from an exam. We check 1 from an exam. Okay. Okay. So now, what we need to understand as well is we're going to be given questions like this. They will say, let's say they ask us to say, differentiate with respect to x or find the derivative of this. Now, we're going to say number 1, we can be given an equation like y is it. Let's say we've been given 2x, okay, squared, then we have a plus 2 over x, then 3, like this, x raised to the power 3. Now, how do we analyze with such? What we need to do is that we need to take back this 3 on top. But now the question is, how do we do that? Number 1, we're going to say, I know that here I'm saying the difference in y over the difference in x will be, remember now we need to do the changes, but first and foremost, we can take this x back here. So this equation will be same as it, y is it 2x squared minus, sorry, there is a plus. You've seen this one? So I have a 2, this x it will go back on top. Now when I take it back on top, the power it will change to a negative. As you mean to say this power was already negative, when it goes back, it will be a positive. But now, since this power here is a negative, is a positive, therefore here we have a negative. And now we can solve. 2x minus 2x multiplied by 2, that will be 4x. 2 reduces by 1, and there's a plus. Here we have 2x multiplied by negative 3. 2x multiplied by negative 3, that will be negative 6x. Then this minus 3 will reduce by 1 as well. The difference in y over the difference in x, this will give us 4x. This and this one, it is 1. 1 we did not indicate. That is why here we said that we had the 1 and the 1 had reduced by 1. So here we have minus 6x, negative 3 minus 1. That will give us a minus 4, and we've differentiated. So you can check also for the 2024, it was the same, it was the similar question as we have done here. 2024 internal, so check 2024 internal exams. Okay, so this is how we perform calculus in terms of differential. Now, we need also to analyze to say there's something that we call integral. Now, how do we interpret? Okay, how do we interpret? So when we want to interpret, this is what we do. We need also to understand what integral means. We need to understand what integral means. When we say interpret, what we mean is, look at this, it's just saying this is the reverse process, okay? This is the reverse process of differential. Of what? Differential, okay? It's the reverse process of differential. Now, if integral being the reverse process of differential, what we need to understand from this is that when we talk about integral, it falls in 2 categories. There is what we call the definite one and the indefinite one. So there's what we call the definite, okay? Definite, and there's also what we call the indefinite, okay? What is the definite integral and what is the indefinite integral? When we talk about the definite integral, this one has no bounds. It has no bounds. Okay? It has no bounds. But the definite one here, this one has the bounds. This one has bounds. Now, what are we saying that, what are these bounds now? Look at this. Integral is going to be given by this symbol for integral like this. Let's say we're given a question like this, 4x plus 2, like this. You've seen that here we have no number, and here we have no number. Therefore, the numbers, they are called bounds. If you have a number here, assuming A, and you have a number or letter D, these are called bounds. Therefore, this is what we call the upper bound, and this is what we call the lower bound. Now, if you don't have the numbers here, it means that it is the definite end. Let me clarify on this one. This one always comes in paper 1 of mathematics, and this one always comes in paper 2 of mathematics. So you expect this question for indefinity, 3 marks every year, compulsory. You need to write it whether you like it, yes or no. So now, let's have how do we solve the question based on the calculus? Let's start with the definite. Number 1, example, they can tell us to say integrate. Okay? Integrate. Let's say something like this. Integrate. Then we have, or let's just do this. The definition we're going to say integrate 4x 2, okay, or 4x cubed plus 2x, 4x cubed plus 2x, integrate. Now, how do we integrate? Remember we said integration, this is the reverse process of differential calculus. Under differential, we were multiplying here, so this would have been a 12, but now we're going to multiply. So this is going to be 4, okay, x, you've seen this 3, so it is 4x just because we did not multiply. You've seen here the power under differential, it was reducing by 1, but now that power is increasing by 1. So here we're going to have a 3 plus c, 1. Then we do the repeating unit of this here and we say over, what is this one? It is a 3 plus c, 1. There's a plus here, this is a plus. Here we have a 2x. Remember, there's an invisible 1 there on 2x. Therefore, this also will be a 1 plus c, 1. This over. Here we also say 1 plus c, 1. The repeating, we just say plus c being the constant. So this will give us 4x. 3 plus 1 will have a 4. 3 plus 1 will have a 4. Plus, here we have 2x. This and this will have a 2. And this and this will have a 2 plus c. Now, look at this. We know that this 4 can go into 4 one time. So 4 and 4, 1 will remain with it. X raised to the power 4 plus this 1 will remain with it. X raised to the power 2 plus c, and D we've integrated. Now, I'm sure someone may have a question to say, what if I find myself in a situation where this value cannot go into, where the denominator cannot go into the numerator? What we're supposed to do is, let's look at, let's get such a question. Example, assuming to say I have, they tell me to say integrate, okay? Integrate 4x squared, okay, plus 2x, okay, minus 4, like this, with respect to x. Okay, let's do this guy now. And sure, we're supposed to talk about this under differential. Assuming to say we have, look at this, let's differentiate the same, 4x squared plus 2x minus 4. In terms of differential, because I want to explain about how we can deal with this guy here. In terms of differential, what we're going to say is dy over dx, this will give us, we multiply. So that will give us 8x, 2 minus 1. Here it will give us, here it will give us, so we have a plus, 2x, 1 minus c, 1 minus, now look at this. You've seen this value for, it is not a coefficient of x. Therefore, it is considered to be 0, or if you want, you can't calculate it. You can't put it on the equation, then you continue solving like that. But now, when it comes to integral, what we do, remember, under differential, we were saying that this value is 0, but now we are adding x ourselves. So that will be, this will be equivalent to 4x. Remember, we do not multiply. Then 2 plus c, 1. Put together, there's a plus c over a 2 plus c, 1. Here we have 2x, 1 plus 1 over 1 plus c, 1 minus, we say 4 and x. But because we have added this x here, therefore we do not need to put 1 plus 1. So from there, we say plus c, therefore we have 4x, this and this 3 over 3 plus 2x, 2 over 2 minus 4x plus c. Then this one can go into this one, so 4 over 3. Here we have x3 and plus we have x squared. This is this one, 1. This is the x that we remain with, minus 4 plus c. And here we are done. This is about differential calculus. In the next video, we're going to look at, this is about integral, and in the next video, we're going to look at the indefinite. Stay tuned, subscribe, and like our channel. Thank you so much.